Dan and Amy, you know that traffic report from Telemonte talking about dogs running around in the streets. What are we, in Caracas? I mean,
People are chasing them for food.
We may be soon. By the way, just as a related story in terms of the economic miracle of socialism in Venezuela, a dozen eggs reported last week to cost $150. Inflation in Venezuela is going to hit 720% this year. And we've talked about the tales of people slaughtering zoo animals and targeting household pets for sources of food. This is the Hugo Chavez miracle that the left was touting right up until they fell silent.
And you know what? I just watched a horrible video, too. People that don't want to eat their animals, and they can't feed their animals. They're just letting them loose on the street, and other people are chasing them down. It is disgusting what's going on there. It's barbaric. But the people are desperate, and they need to eat. Okay, well, we'll be right back.
Well, it's Obama friend Hugo Chavez, a philosophical soulmate of the modern Democrat Party, which are just the Democrats or socialists are just 21st century Democrats in a hurry. That's about it. Kind of changing topics a bit. We're now happy to be joined by our friend, Congressman Peter Roskam, of course, Republican from Illinois 6th District out there in the western and northwestern suburbs. And, Peter, first question we're asking everybody, so don't take any offense. What is your body mass index?
I have no idea.
We'd like to see your health records.
Do you work out?
Yeah.
We want to know.
Here's what I do. I do run 2 miles a day usually, but here's my thing. I run very slow. And if I tell myself, I'm going to go run 5 miles, I'm going to run no miles. So what I figured out is I will end up running more miles by doing it a little bit at a time. That's my theory.
I think that's a regimen that should be profiled on Dr. Oz. I think more people should hear about that.
And didn't start it till I was 50 years old. That's the thing. If
Good
you start
for you.
when you're young, you're going to blow your teeth out. So sit around for 30 years. Then start it.
Exactly.
And Donald Trump is doing the 70-year plan. Right?
Don't do anything for the first, you're from 20 to 50, then you start to exercise. I mean, it's genius.
This is the Peter Roskam. I'm pacing myself.
You're going to live forever with that approach. All right, so today, the story we've talked about routinely when we've had you on the program and in general, the House has scheduled a roll call vote to impeach IRS Commissioner John Koskinen. What is going to happen with that roll call vote?
Here's what I think is going to happen. The roll call vote is ripening. It's what's known as a privileged resolution that's been introduced. I think what is going to happen is now the Judiciary Committee is going to actually have a hearing on this. They've had 2 hearings, one where Congressman Jason Chaffetz presented and another one which was just kind of an overview of some of the IRS things. But now they're going to have a hearing. If I'm reading, and these are, late-breaking, this is fairly late-breaking. So I'd be surprised if there is a roll call vote today on the Koskinen matter. But I think that now it's going to be moved to the Judiciary Committee where they're going to move through the normal impeachment process. So I think that's the state of play.
So any full vote in the House won't take place until after the November election?
Yeah, I think that's what is likely to happen, just in terms of a collapsing calendar. But it's all to say, I mean, the attitude and the disposition, as you can imagine, of John Koskinen has fundamentally shifted. I mean, he is. We're all familiar with what his disposition was when he's been on television and come before various committees and very dismissive and so forth, particularly in terms of the lowest learner matter. And now he's coming up and saying, "Hey, give me my day in court." And I think there's something to be said for the process. But it is amazing how much his attitude has changed.
Well, so here's the thing that's that's difficult about this, and I want to get your response. You've got members of the Freedom Caucus, some of your colleagues saying, "Look, effectively, why are you slow walking this?" Leadership, House Republican leadership. This is something that seems to have taken an interminable period of time when you have the IRS commissioner lying about the illegal targeting of Americans based on their religious and political beliefs. And it seems to be one of those things where some people are saying, see, it's easy for Republicans to wave the flag, but they're not doing anything to advance the flag when they have complete control over doing something to advance the flag. So if they're not going to go after Koskinen with alacrity, then it says they don't treat something as very seriously that they say is very serious.
Yeah, I did a telephone town hall in my constituency last night, and one of my constituents was confused about it because she thought, well, all of this happened before John Koskinen came to the IRS. And my point of clarifying it was, no, there were terrible things that happened before he went to the IRS, but what he's being held to account for are things that happened under his watch, with his knowledge, and so forth, and that they were misrepresented by him to the Congress. So I take your larger point. This is largely the theme that George Will was driving in his National Review piece, where he said, look, Congress, you've either got to dispose of this matter or you're not a relevant branch of government anymore. And you've been completely, you've just been completely marginalized. And I think that's driving a lot of this discussion.
So if there is an impeachment hearing, it'll give, every American the opportunity to hear John answer under oath why he misled Congress. But is there any possibility, or do you think that he might plead the fifth?
No, I don't think so. My experience with the commissioner of the IRS, John Koskinen, is that he is somebody who likes to come to Congress, ironically. We've called up and have called as witnesses other members of the senior staff of the IRS, and John Koskinen will routinely show up with them. So this is somebody who, my experience has been, this is somebody who likes to tell his story, likes to defend himself, and perceives himself to be good at it. So I would be absolutely amazed if he was this.
And after he is impeached and removed from his post, can you also ensure that the Koskinen lacrosse field at Duke is renamed? That his name is taken down off that lacrosse field. Maybe the Mike Nifong lacrosse field. Maybe there.
Right, a lot of cross pressure on that, and unlike other people who have run into hot water after they've been honored for something, and then subsequently their names have been removed from things.
And another matter that is of particular interest, you are on the Ways and Means Committee, and you're the chairman of the subcommittee on oversight. You had a hearing the other day on college and university endowments, student debt, and relationship to the tax code. This relevance to trying to address the issue of spiraling tuition increases and university endowments. What's your angle of incidence here?
Yeah, here's the backstory quickly on that. I mean, it is a truism. These costs of higher education are irrational. They are moving, at a pace that nobody can really cope with. And so one of the things that we're looking at the Ways and Means Committee in terms of tax reform is, how does tax policy actually drive this? Well, one of the things that the American taxpayer gives to universities is tax-exempt status for their endowments. It's tax-exempt contributions. They grow tax-exempt. They are not taxable, and so forth. So it begs the question, you've got billions of dollars of endowment. How is that money being used? Is it being used for student aid and student assistance? Is it being used to build, big gyms and food courts and all that sort of stuff? And what's the relationship between the two? Some schools are doing a fantastic job. There's a school with $1 billion endowment in Kentucky, Berea College, and they do they don't charge kids tuition, and kids work on campus, and they use their endowment to pay tuition. Absolutely brilliant. Other schools that are basically hedge funds that offer classes, if you ask my opinion. And so we've got to get to the bottom of this. And this is one of these issues where the more questions you ask, the more questions emerge. But I'm determined to at least get a better understanding of how this works and how it affects my constituents.
Are you going to be proposing legislation on this?
Well, one of the things that I started to think about was there are incentives in the tax code currently for, donations of, let's say, excess inventories that go to help the needy. This is something where there's an extra incentive. Does it make sense if we make contributions that go towards student scholarship, more highly incentivized than contributions that go towards some other operation. Buying out a football, buying out a football coach's contract, for example. Is that really at the same level of charity as helping students? I don't think so. And I think that we can create different tiers, different levels of incentivizing these kind of contributions.
Look, you give Lovie Smith how much ever money he wants, and that's the end of that discussion. All right. He is Congressman Peter Roskam, representative of the 6th District in the suburbs, western and northwestern suburbs of
Stay healthy.
Illinois.
Keep running.
Keep running those, it sounds like he kind of, walks and just moves his arms fast.
With little weights?
Yeah, that's
no,
kinda
I
what
don't
it
think
sounds
so.
like.
He runs 2 miles. That's admirable. I love that.
Oh, well, there you go. You've got the Jacobson in good health quality
Seal of
seal.
approval.
There you go. Congressman Roskam, thanks so much for joining us.
All right,
Appreciate
talk
it.
to you guys soon. Thanks.
He joined us on our turnkey.pro Get Fit answer line.